There's something you'll see quite often in gacha tribalism debates that, if I'm being entirely honest here, is a red herring that gets in the way of more meaningful discussions regarding the games themselves. I am referring to how generous a gacha game is, either in a general sense or on a patch-by-patch basis, oftentimes with the intent of dragging another gacha game through the mud over their respective generosity, or a lack thereof in the context of a tribalistic debate. Now, aside from when I would frequently shill Girls Frontline 2 in my earlier months of content creation, I never really used poll totals as a value system to determine the worth of playing one gacha game over another. You could argue that's because I have the disposable income which allows me to safely disconnect from the pressures of distributing premium currency around. But honestly, it's much simpler than that and is a sentiment that transcends any one individual's personal finances. Am I having fun playing this game? This basic of basics when it comes to playing video games seems to get lost completely when premium currency talks get thrown around, like everyone's so caught up in how much free stuff they can amass over actually enjoying the game. Now, to be fair, I do understand why poll counts are a common battleground for gacha tribalism, because enjoyment of a game is a subjective thing that is different for everyone, whereas discussing poll income is a lot more cut and dry and makes for a more tangible subject to latch onto. Characters are the foundation in which almost the entire game is built around in service of, so the rate at which a player can acquire a new character directly correlates to their ability to potentially experience new ways to play the same game, or maintain enjoyment of the game as metas and endgame adapt to the newest additions to a roster. With that said, however, even if you're acquiring currency slower than a competing gacha game, you're still acquiring currency in the direction of pulling for a new character. And more importantly, if there is a more generous gacha game but you don't enjoy playing it, then why should it matter that you can acquire characters faster if they're used in a gameplay loop that you don't even enjoy in the first place? Genshin Impact consistently remains the top dog in terms of popularity and influence in the gacha space despite the sheer number of characters the game has, coupled with lower poll income totals when put next to its competitors. Even for someone like me who does not enjoy playing Genshin Impact anymore, I can at least recognize the overwhelming love and appreciation for this game from its fanbase that goes beyond a sense of entitlement for an arbitrary amount of primogems. Detractors of Genshin Impact regularly attack it over its low poll counts, but it has rarely, if ever, resulted in significant change as the core audience still enjoys Genshin Impact for its actual gameplay and content offerings. While I don't play Genshin Impact myself, I do play another gacha game that has received similar public condemnation over its perceived generosity, regardless of how true those statements actually are, especially after some more recent system changes. Stella Sora is currently my favorite gacha game, even if I treat it more so as a side game. I enjoy it primarily for its story, characters, and world building, yet only play it very casually when it comes to team building and participation in endgame content. Would I appreciate it if Stella Sora offered more rewards? Well, of course, as I would for any of these gacha games. But I'm more than happy with what's on offer as a game that I don't feel like I'm owed anything to stick around, at least for now. On the other end of the spectrum, Girls Frontline 2 is easily the most generous gacha game I have ever played, yet I've lost all interest in keeping up with the game as I'm no longer interested in actually playing it for multiple reasons surrounding its gameplay and content updates. Sticking around with GFL 2 at this point for me would be for no other reason than to collect currency to pull for more characters. But if I'm not even enjoying the process of gathering said currency or playing with said characters, then I would only be perpetuating a one-sided relationship fueled primarily through fear of missing out. This is something I've been consistent with across every gacha game I played at one point or another. Incentives are not what brought me into these games, nor do they keep me around. And ideally, this should be the stance most people should take when they choose to play a gacha game. Yes, a bountiful patch can be an effective way to get newcomers' foot in the door, especially when the idea of it being too late to play a gacha game does a lot to keep people from jumping in if they fail too early on in these games' life cycles. But that's where their usefulness should end in that regard, to push people into trying the game. The moment it starts being a driving factor for wanting to stick around is when you should ask yourself what you're actually sticking around for. This is why I find the comparisons and arguments of pull counts between gacha games to be a bad value system to judge these games by. Loyalty should be earned, not bought and sold. And if you've played these games already, you yourself have already decided which ones have earned your own loyalty. All you have to do is wait for the respective gacha game of these diehard fans to go through a lackluster dry period of pull income. For when that happens, you'll truly see how little they actually care about pull income as they attempt to change the subject and move the goalpost. So remember, play for fun and not for bribes.